What's up YouTubes? Welcome to Hot Trades. My name is Blaze, and in this video I'll be doing some due diligence and technical analysis on Luckin Coffee, ticker symbol LKNCY on the OTC pink sheets. Most of you are well informed already about the whole Luckin Coffee scandal situation, how they fabricated sales and revenue numbers to make the company seem more financially stable than it actually was. And if you are not familiar with the whole story, not to worry, I'll start off by giving you guys a quick summary on how the company went from a Wall Street sweetheart to being delisted from the NASDAQ exchange to the CEO being fired to bankruptcy and what's going on with the whole legal situation and what the company is doing now to get back into investors' good graces. So if you enjoyed the content, please don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and let's get right into it. So Luckin reported at the time of its initial 2019 public offering IPO that it operated 2,370 stores in China and had over 16.8 million customers. The company's tremendous growth, its launch operations in October 2017, drove the story that hooked investors. China was primed for a boom in coffee consumption, and Luckin was positioned to benefit from serving it. So this is the whole reason why investors initially fell in love with the company. So just taking a look at the chart, just to give you guys a visual presentation of what really took place with the company. So these guys IPO'd in May of 2019, and over time people really got familiar with the story that they had so many stores and they had so really good revenue and they had so many customers and that they were a direct competitor to Starbucks. And just comparing this company with Starbucks at the time, Starbucks was a really big company and fairly valued with a really high share price. So just comparing the two, investors really had high hopes for the company, and so the stock price performed really well. So it went from its IPO price of $25 all the way to $52, which is its all-time high. And then this report comes out. A short seller questions Luckin Coffee's growth. So let's read a little bit more into this article just to get a summary of what really happened. Luckin Coffee has become an overnight sensation in China, going from 0 locations to the biggest coffee chain in the country in just a couple of years, and putting Starbucks on the defensive in its most important growth market. But a noted investor has started to question some of the company's numbers. The investor Muddy Waters Research is known for betting against companies, betting against stocks. Last week, it published an anonymous but credible allegation that the company inflated its numbers. When Luckin went public last May, it was a fundamentally broken business that was attempting to instill the culture of drinking coffee in Chinese consumers through cutthroat discounts and free giveaway coffee. The report sent the company stock plummeting, leading Luckin to publish its own defense Monday morning. The company's key operating data, including the number of items per store, per day, items per order, and effective selling price, are tracked in real time and can be verified, the company said in the statement. Luckin Coffee called the allegations misleading and false, and the company said it intends to take appropriate actions to defend itself. Luckin opened its first location in 2017. By the end of 2019, it operated 4,500 locations in China, exceeding the 4,300 Starbucks units there. To be sure, Luckin's locations do a lot less business per restaurant, but the shocking rate of growth appears to be virtually unprecedented anywhere in the world. So after that short report comes out, the stock plummets from its all-time highs of $52 all the way down to $54, and then this report comes out next. So NASDAQ finds out that these allegations might have some type of a standing, so Luckin Coffee gets a delisting notice. Luckin Coffee's fake transaction scandal could cost the Chinese chain a spot on the NASDAQ stock market. The exchange notified the Beijing-based company, which is traded publicly in the US, that it would lose its listing. Nasdaq cited public interest concerns raised by Luckin's fabricated transactions that the company acknowledged last month. It also cited that the company's failure to disclose material information, citing those fabricated transactions. And the SEC launches an investigation into the company just to see if these reports are actually true. So officers of the company engaged in fraud. So these are the facts, these are the findings, these are the actual factual findings that were that are posted after the investigation is done. So officers of the company engaged in fraud as early as April 2019. The SEC said when employees and two entities associated with locking officers and directors bought up coupons that were meant to be used for coffee. The coupons were never used, but Luckin created fake customer orders to redeem the coupons and justify the recognition of revenue, the SEC complaint says. In another scheme, which accounted for most of the 311 million in fake sales, certain employees arranged coupon sales to shell companies, which were described within Luckin as agents that would resell the vouchers to individual customers. According to the SEC complaint, one worker involved in that scam emailed, "We will try to replace the contact person with third parties in order to reduce the number of our internal colleagues that are aware of the issue." So this is what the SEC found after the investigation, and then this happens next. Luckin Coffee ousts chairman, names new CEO. So, reading a little bit more into this article, Luckin Coffee has ousted its chairman and named a new chief executive as the company tries to draw a line under an accounting scandal that has rocked its business. The embattled Chinese coffee chain named Jim Yi, chairman and CEO, after shareholders voted to remove co-founder and former chairman Charles. Luckin said in a regulatory filing on Monday. Luckin went public last year and surged due to what appeared to be a strong sales growth, but then the company, which was once hailed as China's homegrown rival to Starbucks, admitted in April that a good portion of its 2019 revenues were fabricated. Its shares collapsed following the revelation. Luckin stock is down nearly 93% on the year, and Nasdaq has decided to delist the company. The new CEO has been the acting CEO since May after Luckin fired the chief executive Jenny and chief operating officer Jian, the executive whom the company said was the architect of the fraud. Earlier this month, the company said it fired 12 other employees whom, at the direction of the former CEO, participated in and had knowledge of fabricated transactions. Before being tapped for the job, the CEO was Luckin's senior vice president in charge of products and supply chain. He also previously worked as an assistant to the chairman of Ucore, a company founded by Lu. Lu has come under pressure as the scandal sparked a crackdown on Chinese companies listed in the United States. So there's a lot more. I can't sleep on. So this article, this comes from, let's see, who does this come from? So I can't sleep at night, he said in a statement which was widely reported by multiple Chinese media outlets, including the paper and Chinese business network, both owned by state-controlled corporations. He also insisted that he didn't play tricks in order to cheat investors. It's not clear what's next for Luckin now. It will no longer have access to the stock market to raise new capital as of late last year. The company had 3,680 stores. So that comes out, and then this comes out next. So Luckin Coffee files for bankruptcy in the US. So reading this article as well, Luckin Coffee, once hailed as China's homegrown rival to Starbucks, has filed for bankruptcy in the United States less than a year after the company admitted that millions of dollars in sales had been fabricated. So you're going to notice that a lot of these are just recurring themes and blah 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 over and over, but let's just follow through and see what it says. In a statement Friday explaining its chapter 15 fighting, Luckin said the move will help its financially restructure itself and strengthen its balance sheet. The type of filing shelters the US assets of foreign companies undergoing restructuring proceeding in their home country. Bankruptcy won't materially impact Luckin's day-to-day operations, and its roughly 3,600 cafes will remain open according to a release. to a release. The filing caps off a rough year of the company. Last April, it was revealed the company's former chief operating officer, Jiang, and several of his direct reports had engaged in certain misconduct, including fabricating certain transactions beginning in 2019, amounting to an about 310 million. So I'm not going to continue and read this article. I'm going to leave it there. So from its all-time highs of $52, and after the allegations come out, the short report comes out, the stock price drops all the way down from its all-time highs of $52 all the way down to let's say $26 right here. And the SEC comes out and says these allegations are actually true, and overnight the stock drops all the way down. It has a massive gap down, so from $26 all the way down to $7. So all the way down to $7, and then more bad news keeps coming out. So the CEO gets fired and the stock continues to drop, and they file for bankruptcy, and the stock drops down all the way to a low of 95 cents. So 96 cents, 95 cents, all the way down here to 90. I think it's even lower. So 93 cents, doesn't matter. So all this bad news comes out, and the stock price drops all the way down to below $1, and then they get one last piece of bad news. So China's Luckin Coffee to pay 180 million to settle accounting fraud claims. So reading into this article, Luckin Coffee has agreed to pay 180 million to settle the claims that it cooked its books to make growth appear more robust and meet earnings targets. The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) announced the penalty on Wednesday, 8 months after the Chinese company disclosed that some of its officials fabricated sales in 2019. Luckin neither admitted nor denied the SEC claims, SEC fraud claims, which were filed in Manhattan Federal Court. The settlement is subject to a federal judge's approval. Luckin intentionally faked more than 300 million in federal sales, retail sales from April 2019 to January 2020. So that's what happens. This is the last piece of bad news that comes out. Just taking a look at the chart just to clue everything in. These guys IPO in May of 2019, and investors really become familiar with the story. They claim that they are making so much money, and they have so many stores, and people start to like the company, and so the stock price goes from $25 all the way up to $52, and then that short report comes out. The short report comes out, and the nasdaq delisting report comes out, and the stock price starts to drop. So it drops down all the way down to $25, $26, and the SEC comes out and says these allegations are actually true. They actually have a footing. These guys are actually fabricating numbers, and the company actually comes out itself and says, yeah, we made a mistake, and yeah, this is actually true. And the stock price has a massive gap down. So it gaps from $26 all the way down to $7 overnight. So that's a massive gap down, and then the CEO gets fired. And what happens next? So they get a fine from the SEC of 180 million. So the stock price just plummets all the way down to 95 cents, 93 cents. And I think that's it for the bad news, guys. I think that's it. So all the bad news is in. We've clued in all the bad news. We've finally got you guys all caught up. Let's see. So from here on out, I think the good news comes. So these guys, let's see what they're actually doing from here on out to gain back confidence, to gain back investors' confidence. So Luckin Coffee to restructure, raise USD 250 million in equity. I think this is a really good signal, right? If people are willing to give these guys money, if they're willing to lend these guys money after all the rubbish they've done, and then that's a really good sign for the future. That means people are actually seeing value in the company from here on out. So let me read a little bit more into this article. So despite a financial scandal, Luckin has kept all its stores open in China and stayed in business, paying suppliers and employees. So they've been paying their suppliers and employees throughout this whole process. So Xiaomeng headquartered beverage chain Luckin Coffee disclosed on Tuesday that it has entered into a debt restructuring agreement with creditors holding about 59% of the USD 460 million convertible senior notes due in 2025, who can claim back 91 and 96% of their money. So that's a really good sign. The US investors have settled, and they're willing to restructure, and they're going to get back up to 96% of their money. So that's a really good sign. This move is designed to allow the company to comprehensively address its capital structure and be better positioned for its long-term success, said Luckin Coffee. So these guys are still focused on the future. I think a lot of companies, when they get negative news like this, a lot of companies will just either take the money and run. So it's a good sign that these guys are still in business and they're looking to grow for the future. The firm further said it is engaged in discussing with a credible investor with a view to raise at least 250 million of equity funding through a private placement, which is an alternative funding solution. So the only issue with this is that these guys get a private placement and offering at a price that's way below what the stock is trading at now, right? So if they raise, for example, at $5 and the stock is trading at $10, that might be a little bit of an issue, because then the market might see that the stock is valued at $5 and it might want to go back down instead of going back up, right? So that's my only concern with private placements. So continuing on to this article, so Luckin was once a darling for investors, but fell from grace after a 2.2 billion fraud scandal that was surfacing in April last year. In December, it settled with the SEC. So that's when they paid the 180 million. So for a USD 180 million penalty. So they've paid the penalty and they're making things right with their investors. So that's a really good sign. China's state administrator of market regulation also pressed charges for irregularities. A CEO and chairman Jin Lee, meanwhile, just survived an international probe following bribery accusations which he considered to be stemmed from former chairman Lu, an ex-CEO, according to the blah 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 blah. Despite the scandal and ongoing battle on the board, Luckin managed to keep all its stores in China open and stayed in business. So good sign. Paying suppliers and employees. The company said on Tuesday it is still holding a 775 million cash position. Oh wow, that's a really massive cash position. I don't know why I can't say cash. I think I've been talking for too long. Excluding restricted cash and illiquid investments as of April 28th. So that's a really good sign that these guys still have a lot of money to spend and restructure and build the company right. The chain even opened 120 new stores in January. So these guys are really doing well. They're opening new stores despite all the stuff that's going on top of the 4,800 outlets it had at the end of 2020, according to this report. Today, we have a new leadership team and a viable plan to return Luckin Coffee to growth and value creation, said the new CEO. So that's a really good sign. Okay, so now that we know that the company is, all the bad news is over and these guys are actually working to improve their company and are making plans for the future, let's just go through the company's website just to see what they actually stand for, what their plans are and things like that. So we're going to go through the overview, news and events. We're going to go through the financials and just a few little things on the website just to see what the company's plans for the future are. So company overview, let's see what they say about themselves. So Luckin Coffee is the pioneer of a technology-driven new retail model to provide coffee and other products of high quality, high affordability, and high convenience to our customers. Our mission is to be part of everyone's everyday life, starting with coffee. Our online offline model is built upon our mobile and store networks. Our mobile app and presence on other third-party platforms cover the entire customer purchase process, offering our customers a 100% cashierless environment. This enhances our customer experience, improves our operating efficiency, and allows us to stay connected with our customers and engage with them anytime, anywhere. Our store network is comprised of pickup stores, relax stores, and delivery kitchens, which enables us to maximize convenience for our customers, improve our brand recognition, and achieve broader delivery coverage. Technology is at the core of our business. Our technology covers every aspect of our business, for customers engagement and storefront operations to supply chain management. We leverage our big data analytics and AI to analyze the huge volume of data generated from our operations and continuously improve our systems. Our focus on technologies has enabled us to efficiently optimize the customer experience and grow rapidly while maintaining quality control. Luckin Coffee was founded in 2017, as we know, and is based in Xiamen, China. So that's the overview of the company. That's what they stand for, and it's honestly looks pretty good for me. They're not just a coffee company; they're a technology and AI company. So that's a really good sign. They're for a company for the future, a coffee company for the future. So moving on to news and events, let's see what these guys actually have for news and events. So I don't think there's actually anything here. So Luckin Coffee enters into restructuring agreement. So we know that already. They signed that massive agreement with to settle. So we know that already. So what else do they have on the? If we take a look at their calendar, more events are coming up soon. So nothing for right now. So historical lookup. No, let's skip that. So let's look at their financials actually. So the last report. So if we look at the quarterly, let's say quarterly financials, just to see what these guys are doing for it. So this might not be accurate though, right? Because this came out in November of 2019. I think this was still when the probe was going on. So this was when they claimed to make 218 million, representing an increase of 557% from year over year. 1 million in the same quarter of 2019. Average monthly total items sold in the quarter were 442 million. So I'm not quite sure if these numbers are actually accurate. So we're going to skip the financials just because there's been nothing new that's come out from the company in terms of financials. So we're going to skip those. So governance, let's see, meet the management team. So this is the CEO, right? Jin Yi is the CEO. So Jin Yi has served as our director since 2018 and our chairman of the board and the chief executive officer since July 2020. So he was a new CEO that came into power after the fired the guys that had to do with the fabrication. Served as the assistant to the chairman of For You Car from 2016 to 2017. He worked at Military of Transport from 2011 to 2016 and worked at China Academy of Transportation Science as a research assistant from 2019 to 2009 to 2011. He obtained his master's degree in July 2005 and a PhD in July 2009 from Beijing University, majoring in transportation planning and management. He was a visiting scholar at the University of Leeds in 2018. So I don't know. I don't think we're really interested in the rest of the management team. We just wanted to read a little bit into the CEO. So resources. So investors FAQs. Let's see what they say. So FAQ. So these are just frequently asked questions, right? As you guys know. So when does Luckin Coffee fiscal year end? Luckin Coffee traded, and what is the ticker? Let's see what these guys say the ticker. Okay, so they're updated. So as you guys know, the previous ticker was named LK. So when the listing happened and they came back onto the OTC pink sheet, they came up with a new ticker. So the new ticker is LKNCY, as I mentioned previously. So just seeing if we can find anything important from these FAQs. How can I obtain copies of financial statements? So if you guys, I'm going to post a link to this website. So if you guys are interested in coming through and browsing other things on the website, feel free to. Other than that, there's not a whole lot on this website that it would be useful to us. Other than this overview, I like that they're not just a coffee company, right? They're a technology company and AI company. So that's what I most like about the company, and they're looking forward to the future, right? They're not just throwing the towel in and giving up. They're making plans to grow the company from here, and the stock price is reflecting that. So now that we know the reasons why these guys went from their highs of $52 all the way down to 93 cents, where do I think it's going from here? Where do we think it's going from here? From here, well, just listen to what the market is telling you, right? So the market seems to think that from its lows of 93 cents to where it's sitting at right now at $10, $9.99. These are just funny market games. To close it at $9 and just below $10, those are just funny market games. So what does the market think? Well, the market seems to like what these guys are doing. The market seems to like that they've kept their stores open the entire time these allegations and the investigation has been going on. The market seems to like that these guys are making things right with the SEC by paying their $180 million fine. The market seems to like that these guys are making things right with their investors to restructure and make sure that these guys get up to 96% of their money back. The thing with bankruptcy is that when you go into bankruptcy, your investors maybe get 25% 95% of their money back, 10% of their money back, 50% of their money back, not 95, not 96% of their money back, right? So the market seems to like that these guys are taking the necessary steps to improve. They've hired a new CEO, they've hired a new team behind the CEO. So these guys are taking the necessary steps to improve, and they're also telling you on their website and in statements that they're looking forward to the future. They're looking to improve. They're looking to make things right. So where do I think the stock price is going from here? Well, so we closed at $9.99. So before you're watching this video, this the close on March 19. These guys closed at $9.99. Do I think there's room on the upside? Well, there's really no resistance on the upside except for this gap up. So this gap up right here. So as you can see, there's a massive hole right here. Not sure what happened between these two dates. There must have been some type of news that came out on these two dates a few months ago that caused the stock to drop from $12 all the way down to just above $7. I'm not quite sure what that is, but yeah, so there's a huge gap up, right? So I think we might be looking to fill this gap. So it's sitting at $10 right now, or we might be looking to fill this gap all the way up to $12.60. Does that mean I think you should be buying? Well, I think you should come up with your own plan, right? So there's also this support level right here at, so this pink line that I have right here, and this arrow right here, this is the 50-day moving average. The 50-day moving average is really good, reliable support to pay attention to. So again, do I think you should be buying right here just because we don't really see any resistance, and we could easily fill this gap up here to $12 and then push up to $15 and then $20 after that? Do I think you should be buying? I think you should come up with a very solid plan, right? Whenever you go into a trade and an investment, you need to make sure you come up with your own plan. Make sure you have levels that you're paying attention to. Make sure you have stop losses in place. For example, let's say you buy here at $10, right, and it goes up to $12. Was that your target? Please make sure you have a target in place as well. My plan for trading things like this is, for example, let's say I buy at $10 and the stock goes to $12.60. So let's say we fill this gap right here. I would set a stop loss. Set a stop loss at $11, for example, if that was my target, right? Just because I don't know if the stock continues to go higher. Does it go to $50? Does it go to $20? I'm not quite sure, but I would set my stop loss at $11 for right now, just to make sure that I'm not coming out of this trade red, or even set your stop loss at break even. Make sure that you're at least coming back with your money, right? So that would be my plan for trading this. And then on the downside, if you do get into the stock at $10, what do you think? What's your downside? What's your downside risk, right? So I would probably set my stop loss at a support level. So again, we have the support right here at around the what is this? This is around the $8.26 level. So that's where the 50-day moving average is sitting, and that's a really good reliable support, right? So with anything, this is a momentum stock, so this is going to move. This is going to be very volatile. As we can tell over the last few trading sessions, the stock has really performed really well because of the light of the news that's coming out, the really positive news that's coming out from the company. So the stock is really the market seems to really like what's going on with the company at the moment, and the stock is moving higher from there. Again, this is a momentum stock, so please be careful if you're looking to trade this, you're looking to invest this. Please make sure you have clear levels to pay attention to, right? So again, my strategy for trading stuff like this is please make sure you have a stop loss in place. So if, for example, how much are you willing to lose if you buy at $10, right? So if you buy at $10, if it goes down to $9, is that where you're going to set your stop loss? So please make sure you have clear levels to pay attention to. So this is the daily chart, and these are the levels I'll be paying attention to. So for first resistance, honestly, there's no resistance around this area all the way up to this gap fill area at $12.60. So that's the first resistance I'll be paying attention to. And then above that, there's this high. I think this is the 52-week high. Is it the 52-week high? We're not sure, just because this stock now trades on the OTC, so we don't have a lot of information. So this $15 level, right? So $15 again is a psychological level, which is the same as $10 is. So if we can stay above $10 and get back to this gap fill area, which is $12.16, we might be looking to get back above 15. And if we get back above 15, the next level people start paying attention to is the $20 level. So these are the levels I'll be paying attention to. Again, please do not rush in without a plan, right? So because we might fall initially, we might look to come back and test. It's had a very nice move. So from when the good news started coming out, it's gone from $6 all the way up to above $10, right? So it's had a massive move already. So we might be looking to consolidate, digest this move before going higher. So please make sure you have a plan, have a stop loss in place. Please make sure you know your risk to reward before getting into this chart. So let's take a look at weekly chart just to see if it can give us any more clues. So the previous chart we looked at was the daily chart. That's the chart that most people pay attention to. And the chart you're looking at right now is the weekly chart. So this chart is just a little bit more reliable than the daily time frame. Not to say that the daily time frame isn't reliable, just that the weekly time frame is a little bit more reliable than the daily, just like the monthly is more reliable than the weekly. So what is this chart telling us, right? It's telling us that there's a little bit of an uptrend forming right here, right? So we tested the uptrend right here and held it and pushed higher. We tested it right here and held, pushed higher. We tested here and pushed higher. We tested here again and pushed higher. So do I think it's coming back down to test the uptrend? Not sure. What this chart just tells us is that, yeah, there's an uptrend and the stock does look strong, right? It's been performing well since its lows of 93 cents. The market seems to like what the company is doing, what direction the company is taking, and yeah, the chart seems to reflect that. And on this chart, it tells us that on the previous chart we saw that the resistance was a gap fill around $12.60. On this chart, it tells us that it's a little bit higher, that we could push all the way up to $13.30. So I'm just gonna leave it there, right, guys? So that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Again, if you enjoyed the content, please don't forget to hit the like, subscribe. If you think I missed anything, please let me know in the comment section. If you have any price predictions, please let me know in the comment section as well, and I'll see you guys in the next video.